The United Nations says the number of migrants arriving in Europe by sea alone this year has topped 1 million. These people were among 4,000 rescued in the Mediterranean between Italy and North Africa over the Christmas weekend. The UN thinks nearly 4,000 people have either died or gone missing trying to make the journey. Tens of thousands more people have made overland journeys into Europe. And Greece, a country that almost went bankrupt this year, is one of the main arrival points. But as Filio Contrafori reports, the migrant crisis is merely the latest problem for the Eurozone's most vulnerable economy.
In theory, 2016 should be a smoother ride for Greece. The government began implementing the country's third and quite unpopular bailout, and money for now is flowing into the country. Trouble may lie ahead as Greece will soon begin discussions with its international lenders on some sensitive details of the bailout deal, such as reforming the country's pension system.
The cuts in the pensions that need to be made in order for Greece to save 1% of GDP for 2016 are very dear, and it will be very hard for the government to be able to pass it through the parliament. So we'll either see a political crisis or we see some kind of new government being taken place in order to find majority to pass these reforms.
And then it's this. Capital controls remain in place, though Greek banks have just been recapitalized after a forced month-long shutdown in the summer. Still, most transactions, like sending money to another country, are not allowed, and Greeks can only withdraw 420 euros each week. That's about $460.
We saw that the Greek banks needed only some 5.5 billion euros in recapitalization from the public fund. That is far less than what was previously estimated. On the other side, the political risk is weighing very heavily on the future of the banks. And if the pension reform is not passed in the next months, I don't see the capital controls being lifted, because there will always be the risk of getting into a new crisis, and the deposits might start fleeing again.
It's been 3 months since the recent election, and the Syriza-led government is plummeting in polls. Now it relies on an ever slimmer majority that in the coming weeks and months will be tested to its limits. Government MPs will have to pass some extremely unpopular legislation, for example, more pension cuts that is demanded by Greece's lenders for the release of more aid. And that will not be easy for a leftist government that was initially elected on promises to do exactly the opposite, and austerity. Filio Contrafori, CCTV, Athens.